You're tuned in to Red Hunt, and the moment you think it's over, it's not. I pay 50% of our child's private school fees directly to their other parent. Recently, the other parent has expressed strong negative feelings towards me. They stated that we are not friends, that they dislike me, and that they find my behavior distasteful. They have requested that I only contact them regarding matters directly related to our child. I am unsure what prompted this outburst, but I suspect it may be linked to our child's outfit for my upcoming wedding. Some hurtful remarks were made, and I have not spoken to them since. Regaining trust and being on the same page will take a considerable amount of time. For 8 years, we have maintained a civil relationship with only minor issues. We have organized joint birthday parties and have welcomed each other into our homes. We have always prioritized our child's well-being. Both of us have moved on with new partners. The other parent experienced a relationship breakdown a few years ago, but has since found a new partner. I'm getting married in a few months. While the other parent has made rude comments about my fiancé and our family life, I have remained tolerant. I accepted that the other parent did not want to be a family with me, and while that realization was painful, I have moved on. School fees are due next week, and I prefer not to give the other parent my money directly. To ensure that my share of the fees is documented properly, I paid directly to the school using the details on the invoice. The other parent has since claimed that this has caused issues with their educational loans and finances, which I was unaware of. I do not understand how my payment of 50% of our child's school fees to the school could affect the other parent's loans or finances. They have not paid the fees up front, so they would not be reimbursing themselves. Additionally, it seems unnecessary to take out a loan for the full amount of the school fees when half has already been covered by me. When the other parent reminded me that I owed them money, I informed them that I had already paid my share while respecting their request for limited contact. Child support is not a factor in our situation, as we share custody of our child equally and financial matters do not come into play. Am I in the wrong for wanting my half share documented moving forward? I welcome any opinions and suggestions on how to address this in the future. This isn't it. You haven't done anything wrong. Honestly, paying the school directly makes total sense. I mean, it seems like your ex might be trying to pull something shady with the money. By paying the school, you're ensuring that your half of the fees is documented properly. It's not your job to fix their financial issues, and their anger doesn't change your responsibilities. Plus, you'll get your own receipt, and that's a big deal. It's completely fair to want things handled correctly, especially when it comes to your child's education. And hey, on a lighter note, what's the little one's wedding outfit looking like? That's the real question here. Am I the jerk for confronting my parents about comments that hurt my partner during our family vacation? Hello Reddit, this is my first time posting and English is not my first language, so please be understanding if anything sounds off. I am a 29-year-old female and recently went on vacation to Denmark with my parents, who are 58 and 59 years old, my boyfriend, who is 31 years old, and later my younger sister, who joined us for the weekend. My boyfriend and I have been together for about 2.5 years and have been living together for 2 years. This was not our first trip together. During the vacation, my boyfriend expressed that certain comments and jokes from my parents made him feel uncomfortable and unwelcome. He felt that they might have a problem with him. Initially, I dismissed his feelings because my parents have a rough sense of humor and they have never openly criticized him to me. However, I began to pay closer attention and could understand his perspective. When he brought it up again, clearly upset, I decided to talk to my parents. One day while shopping, they asked me if something was wrong. I responded that yes, there was something wrong, but I would prefer to discuss it later in private. They insisted that I share my thoughts right then, so I did. I told them that my boyfriend felt hurt by their comments and that it seemed like they had an issue with him. Things escalated quickly. My mother began to cry and walked away. My father became angry and demanded specific examples. My boyfriend provided a few examples but emphasized that it was not just about what was said, but how frequently and in what contexts the comments were made. My father then stormed off as well. Back at the vacation house, the situation intensified. I supported my boyfriend and stated that if someone expresses that they are hurt, that feeling should be respected. Instead, my parents turned the situation around and accused my boyfriend of being ungrateful, arrogant, and lacking self-awareness. My mother even remarked that his family was a terrible family. They now claim that I betrayed them by taking my boyfriend's side. I see the situation differently. I believe I defended someone I care about who was being treated unfairly. I also think they owe him and me an apology. Currently, we are not speaking. My family left early and my boyfriend has expressed that he does not want any further contact with them, which I understand. However, I feel deeply sad and overwhelmed when thinking about future events such as holidays, weddings, or even having children. I also feel ashamed of my family's behavior in front of him. So Reddit, am I the antagonist for confronting my parents about their comments and standing by my boyfriend? I'm open to any judgment. Damn, you haven't done anything wrong. I mean, your boyfriend shared how hurtful those comments were, and you totally respected his feelings. But your folks, they really overstepped by insulting him and his family. It's pretty clear they reacted poorly because they just can't handle being challenged. They want you to side with them no matter how badly they treat others, and that's just not right. Honestly, if they had just apologized when you brought this up, things could have been different. But instead, they chose to act like bullies, which, yeah, just pushed your boyfriend away. It's tough, but you might want to think about your past experiences with them. They seem to be lashing out because they're not used to being held accountable. No one wants to stick around toxic people, and that totally makes sense. Am I the jerk for changing the locks on my room and not telling my parents? When I was 14 years old, my father took my room key and lost it. He never apologized and thought it was acceptable because he believed I never kept a clean room and that people should see it. This was the situation I endured until I moved in with my boyfriend around the age of 20. After my boyfriend and I broke up in January, I had to move back home. Although I'm still quite messy, I am trying to improve. I have a lot of belongings that I do not know where to put, including Lego sets and clothes because my old dresser is ruined. I keep these items in bags in my room, which is currently overloaded. As a result, I have been sleeping on the couch in another room until my new bed arrives. The main issue began because my father, despite numerous requests to knock before entering, never does. He simply bursts open the door whenever he wants. On one occasion, he even entered while I was changing and still in my underwear. I informed my mother about this and asked her to speak with him since he would not listen to me. Now he knocks once and then opens the door, even if I ask him to wait or say no. Last week, he began entering my room while I was away or taking a shower and opening the electrical blinds. My room faces the terrace, where many of my parents' friends can see through the windows and door. During the spring and summer, a lot of their friends visit, so I chose to keep the blinds down to maintain my privacy while changing or just being in my room. This has been my practice since I got that room, and my sister did the same before me. I have been in a week-long conflict with my father where I tell him to stop. He insists that the blinds will remain open as long as my room is messy, and I try to explain my concerns, but he ignores me. I have repeatedly asked him if he could make some space in the attic, as I would be more than happy to get rid of all the bags, but the attic is full of his belongings. I am just as frustrated by the messiness as anyone else, but there is nowhere to put anything. This weekend, my father went on vacation with his friends, and since we do not celebrate Easter, I decided to change the locks on my door. When he returned home today, the first thing he did was go to my room, only to find it locked. Upon seeing me, he immediately yelled at me and had a significant outburst. He claimed that I had no right to do that and demanded that I change the lock immediately. I calmly told him that since he cannot respect my privacy, I would not do that. I also mentioned that if he was willing to leave my room alone and start knocking, I would not mind changing the locks back. Currently, I cannot afford to move out due to the high rent prices in my town, and all of my savings were depleted by my ex-boyfriend. If I could move out, I would do so in an instant at this point. Now, my father went to a voluntary social group that we are both part of and shared this situation with them. I am extremely frustrated because this is nobody's business, and these are my friends, not his. Some members of the group side with me, while others believe I had no right to change the locks, although they understand my reasons for doing so. He has made me feel like a bad person and has called me one more than once. So am I the antagonist for changing the locks? For clarification, when I mentioned being messy, I meant that I leave my jeans on the floor for a day or do not make my bed regularly. I understand how I may have made it sound otherwise, and I apologize for that. As for the bags, they contain items I took from the apartment, such as completed Lego builds, pictures, and winter attire, including coats and skiing clothes. We used to keep these items in the basement, but now they are in bags. I hope this explanation provides more clarity. Big facts, you haven't done anything wrong. I mean, it's super off that he's so obsessed with your room. At 22, you totally deserve your privacy, right? And it's pretty shady for him to walk in when you're changing. You might want to let your friends know about his history of barging in. That's definitely a red flag. If your room is cramped because of other people's stuff, maybe think about renting a storage unit. Or you could just grab some plastic containers to organize your things. Stacking those or sliding them under the bed is way better than having piles everywhere, honestly. And yeah, just ask him directly why he keeps opening the blinds when you're in the shower. It's really time to set some clear boundaries. Aitah for telling my friend their partner was unsure. I am friends with John and Ava. Ava, who is a friend of mine, started dating John about a month ago. Recently, she has begun cutting off contact with everyone, including both John and me. She frequently leaves us without responses and cancels plans at the last minute. I asked Ava if she was okay for what felt like the 50th time that week. This time, she responded and shared that she felt John was being emotionally manipulative, which I have come to accept can sometimes be true. She expressed concerns about her mental health and mentioned she was unsure whether to break up with him. I encouraged her to do what she felt was best for her well-being. Since Ava began reducing contact, John has been texting me frequently to check if she is online or if she is okay. I was just as confused as he was. Eventually, John became convinced that Ava would break up with him, and he accepted this possibility. The day after Ava confided in me, I received messages from John expressing his belief that she would end their relationship. He seemed to guilt me into feeling responsible, but I reassured him that Ava was uncertain about her feelings. Because Ava refused to meet in person, John confronted her over text. He told her that if she wanted to break up, that was fine. Ava responded by saying, "No, it's okay, I love you." This response made John very angry because he felt deceived, and their conversation escalated with Ava growing increasingly upset, particularly with me. Ava accused me of telling everyone I know and turning everyone against her, despite the fact that I had only confided in John. She sent a lengthy message claiming that I had ruined her life and lied about only telling John. She mentioned receiving numerous hate messages and that she had informed her mother, who is friends with mine, suggesting I would face severe consequences if my mother found out. Ava also accused me of lying to her during a time when she was very upset. However, I was unaware that she was crying since it was over text, and she has not agreed to meet in person, even though she lives less than 5 minutes away. John shared more screenshots with me in which Ava expressed how terrible her life is. She mentioned that she has been self-harming for the past month. I understand where she is coming from, as both John and I have our struggles too, but she seems to act as if she is the only person in the world experiencing difficulties. Am I the antagonist in this situation? For context, I am female. This is wild. I mean, you were straight up wrong for spilling Ava's feelings to John. As her friend, she trusted you to keep that information private, you know. By telling him she was unsure about their relationship, you totally crossed a line and messed with their situation. It sounds like Ava was really struggling, and what she needed was a friend to help her sort through her doubts, not someone to share them with. Honestly, John's guilt trip doesn't excuse your choice to spill. Ava's response might seem extreme, but she probably feels betrayed and is definitely feeling some type of way. It's tough when friends put you in the middle, but keeping secrets can lead to even bigger issues. You could have encouraged Ava to talk to John directly instead. In the end, it's all about respecting her trust. Am I the jerk for claiming that my sibling is a bit domineering, projecting into my ideas? My brother, who is 27 years old, and I, who am 17 years old, share many interests, particularly in Warhammer 40,000. This is a tabletop board game that involves miniature characters. I mentioned my desire to create a board for Warhammer, but struggled to choose a landscape. Our conversation shifted to the possibility of turning this idea into a business where we could sell boards together. This happens often. I share my plans, and my brother tends to project his ideas onto them, usually in a way that focuses on profit. I understand he believes he is looking out for my best interest. He suggested marketing the project through social media and selling images of the dioramas made from the board. I responded that few people purchase such items. He then recommended applying a filter to make the images appear as if they were drawn, allowing us to sell them at conventions, which we both enjoy attending. I explained that even if potential buyers would not know the difference, I would. He argued that other vendors sell artificial intelligence art at conventions. I countered that just because others do it does not mean I should lower my standards. At that point, I struggled to find a response without sounding insulting, so I simply said and walked away. Later, during dinner, I showed him a Warhammer model and shared my plan to customize it. My brother then revisited the board idea and the Warhammer 40,000 book I am writing. I intend to create an audio novel for it and draw a handful of still images. He suggested using photos of the potential boards as background images for the audio novel instead of the drawings I plan to create, as he thought I might lose motivation due to the time required for the drawings and writing. This project is very personal to me, so I expressed that it is my project and I want to pursue it in the way I believe is best. I do not recall his exact response, but he eventually apologized if he came across as overbearing. I replied that he did sound a bit domineering. He expressed concern that he did not want my book to end up like his failed attempt, which took too long and resulted in nothing. After that, we did not speak for the rest of the night, and I worried that I might have upset him, as I do not want to be on bad terms with family. In summary, my brother continually tries to turn my ideas into profitable ventures that he believes are in my best interest, which I do not agree with. I mentioned that he sounded domineering when he apologized for being overbearing. You haven't done anything wrong. I mean, your brother seems to be pushing his idea of success on you, and it's really cool that you're setting those boundaries. Honestly, it's impressive how mature you are at just 17. You can create something personal without turning it into a side hustle, you know. Not everything needs to be a brand or fit someone else's vision. You were honest about him being a bit domineering, and that's totally fair since he admitted it himself. It sounds like you're really passionate about your projects, and you should definitely stick to your creative vision. I hope things get better between you two, but honestly, you did the right thing by speaking up. Just keep doing what you love. Am I the jerk for explaining to my future sister-in-law why her kids will never receive anything from us? I have a brother who is 33 years old and has been dating his girlfriend, Sarah, for 2 years. He proposed a couple of months ago. Sarah has 2 children from her previous relationship, an 8-year-old boy and a 6-year-old girl. My parents and I are not very close to Sarah and her children, but we are cordial and have never had any problems. During the Easter dinner at my parents' house, drama unfolded. Sarah's children were at their father's, so Sarah used the opportunity to confront us about my brother requesting a prenuptial agreement. My brother explained that he expects them to sign a prenup and that only his biological children will have the right to inherit anything from our family assets. This is something we, as a family, had discussed previously, and we all agreed that only our children should receive assets or money from our inheritance. My brother is free to provide for his stepchildren with his own money, but our children and his biological children will not have to share any of our family's resources with them. Sarah claimed we are being unfair and treating her and her children like strangers instead of embracing them as family. She argued that it is normal and decent for us to consider her children as equal to any children my brother and she may have together. I responded that once she marries my brother, she will become our in-law and her children will be my brother's stepchildren. However, this does not mean we have to share anything with them. I asked her if my future children would receive anything from her parents or from their biological father's parents. She said no, so I asked her why her children would be entitled to anything from us. Sarah insisted that they will be our family, but I pointed out that we have many cousins who are also family, yet I do not wish to share my inheritance with them. There was a lot of back and forth and Sarah was persistent. My brother asked her to stop because we were there to celebrate Easter, not to have this conversation, but she continued, saying we needed to clarify the issue once and for all. I told her that from our perspective, everything is clear and that it is only she who has a problem. She accused us of being greedy and cruel to her children, and I snapped. I told her to deal with it. She is free to work hard and gather assets to leave to her children, but we will never divide anything outside of our family, and she should not expect her children to be our financial responsibility. I honestly feel that she is manipulative and is using my brother for what she and her children can gain from him. However, that is my brother's decision to make regarding the kind of partner he wants. I just want to know if I was too blunt in telling her the truth. It sounds like you and your brother have really put a lot of thought into this whole inheritance situation. A prenup and a clear will can definitely help avoid any future drama. I mean, since your brother's partner keeps bringing it up, there's definitely some tension there, right? But remember, your folks have the final say on their assets, not him. It's a big deal to treat everyone fairly, especially the kids. If there's a family trust, names should be added accordingly. Leaving a spouse out in the cold can seem pretty harsh, even if you want to protect the family's interests. It might be worth thinking about how this affects family dynamics. Just be careful not to make anyone feel like a second-class citizen. Keeping things fair can really help maintain peace in the family. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.